let's all gather around this mat, helping if you don't mind getting over here. I just want to show you, this is called the Perfect Pitch mat, and I find that it really helps people visualize. So here's your target line with your club face. Here's another target line to give your eyes something to look at to where you want to go. And then from there, the red dot, you're playing more of in the back of your stance, and you have a narrow stance. So this is more of your bump and run. Okay, so this is going to be your path and plane is going to be a little lower, letting the club face rotate and allowing the ball to run out. But as long as I rotate, keep the club and the butt of the club in front of me, then the ball should roll out. Now with the white, thank you, Skip. Now with the white, you get a little wider. The ball's more in the middle of your stance. And as long as I get into my good posture, letting the butt of the club stay in front of me, the ball is going to go a little higher. And as you can see, there's not as much rotation of the club face, so how the ball reacts is there's a little more check because it goes a little higher, but all I did was widen my stance a little bit and change the ball position. I didn't change anything in my fundamentals. That's going to naturally happen as long as I take the club back with my body, rotating, and let my body rotate through. And now with the white, or the yellow, excuse me, this is more of your bunker shot. It's up off my left toe. And now as you can see, if I kind of think about taking the club back on my feet line, getting the club face where I want it to go, the ball goes nice and high. And as long as I finish, that ball goes higher. The path is a little steeper, but the angle attack is always down on that golf ball, causing it to pop up. So through my setup, I've created 3 different shots, but I really haven't changed my swing, okay? All I got to think about is using my body to rotate. The position of my feet in the ball helps my plane, which helps create the shot. So back in your stance, the plane is a lot shallower, creating a little bit of rotation of the club face, allowing the ball to roll out. More in the middle of my stance, it's a little steeper, taking it back a little bit more outside, and as long as I rotate, the club really never rotates. We're trying to keep it square longer to get it through the shot, and then as I get into my yellow, the ball is way high, more forward in my stance, and now I'm really steep, which is more of your bunker shot here. I'm really steep, and the plane is really outside, but I'm swinging along my feet, and I get the club face aiming where I want to go. So these white lines here kind of help you align the club, and then I get set up left of it and swing across left of it, and the club face never rotates. Any questions?
So if you're square, you're swinging along your toe line. If you're open, you're swinging along your toe line, but your club face is always at the target.
Yes. And basically, so if I'm more square, my shoulders are going to be square. So with my shoulders being square, that's going to change my path and my plane of the club. That's going to be a little bit shallower, allowing the club face to rotate as long as I rotate, right?
And the ball position is only going to dictate generally how high the ball is.
Yeah, so when you have it more in the back of your stance, we want to still the angle of attack, so we have to create shaft angle, right? So shaft angle so we can hit down on that ball. If I don't create shaft angle and I get my hands behind it, well, now I can manipulate it any way I want and get that, and now it's hard for me to rotate from there through, and I can't find a consistent bottom of my arc, so now I have all these different types of shots. And as the ball moves more forward, so do my shoulders, which is going to change the path and the plane of the club. And now the club face is going to stay a little bit square longer and allow the golf ball to have that little bit of height, but also have a little bit of check, because the club face is not rotating.
What do you want weight? Evenly distributed or more front?
You know, I like it a little bit more on my left side because that keeps me kind of stacked up a little bit. But as you get wider, we want to create a solid foundation, especially for the higher shots, bunker, flop shot, or whatnot. So I would say it's a little bit more 50-50 because we're using, once you get more into the bunker shots, we're using more of the bounce.
But around the greens, for the purpose of this, around the greens a little more on the front, so it helps you create the shaft angle too.
Yes. The most important thing for you guys to do when you're around the green is to get the ball rolling on the green as fast as you possibly can. That's your best chance. Pick a club that's going to land it on the green and let it roll out. Because as soon as you get it rolling, now the green and the contour of what you see is going to take it to the hole. If I try to go to this hole right here or way down at the end of the flag and I hit this big long pitch shot, am I going to control it more with an easier swing with an 8-iron that's played back in my stance? Or am I going to have a harder time hitting a 58-degree lob wedge all the way down there? So try to simplify it. Pick your spot on the green, where you want to land the ball, and then determine the shot or the club that'll get you there. And I can show you a drill in a little bit that really has worked with a lot of my students on determining the club. It's called the 12 rule, the rule of 12. I'll explain it to you in a little bit, but I'll go over these fundamentals with you guys, get you on this mat, just so you can get a visual, okay? Just to get a visual, and then see a visual of how the ball reacts once it gets on the green, okay? Riley, why don't you, and I'll come over and see you guys. What are you using here? Okay. Well, let's do the red. Good. So, yeah. And we're gonna. So, what else are you gonna get? A little more shaft angle. Good. But let's see where your feet are aiming. So your feet are aiming to the right of your target line here. So that's important for you because when your tendency is to get closed in your stance. And from there, it's a lot, because it's such a small motion, when I get closed, it's hard for me to rotate. Right, so our hips get closed. Now I got to travel that much further. And what's going to happen to my path? It's going to start creeping inside. So we want to get it to where you're a little more on this line. Good. There you go. A little weight forward. So so it's smaller. There you go. Good. Good. And open the hips a little bit. Good. There you go. Great shot. I'll do another one here. Get that feeling. Because we want to hit a little behind it. Okay. So watch your feet. So get your feet on this line. So get your right foot here. Good. And the left foot here. Excellent. And now from there, rotate. Excellent. Excellent. And you can even get the ball a little further away from you if you want. If feels like it's a little too close. Good. But I think the most important thing for you is your setup. Open the hips a little bit. Just open. So get your hip there. Good. So now it's free flowing on the way through and you can rotate. And what that's going to do, as long as you rotate through the shot, it's going to create a consistent bottom of your arc, which means now you're going to get consistent contact in the middle of the club face. And now you can control your golf ball. Because if you get consistent club face interaction with the golf ball, you're getting feedback based on where that golf ball travels with the size of the arc. But if I hit it all over the club face, or hit it thin or fat and off the toe, well then I can't really gauge what that ball is how it's going to react or what it's going to do. So it's hard to teach yourself what that size of a motion and what type of shot it created. Good. So open up, a little narrow up a little bit. Good. Excellent. I'll rotate. Good. Really good. And now let's do the white one. All right. Sorry. It's on the hill. So now watch your feet. There you go. See, your tendency to creep back. See.
I do.
So how is that on this line, or is that more right of your target? Good. But now you got to get here. So get your right foot up here. But then when that happens, you got to open up your hips. Good. There you go. So when I say that, just kind of, my right foot's a pivot foot, then my left foot comes back, and my hip goes with it. Don't fight it. Don't fight it. Just pivot with that, so you can set your right foot.
And then when you turn,
Right,
then the
well,
ball buckle,
right.
you get
So
the
get in here and you can set your right foot, and then the type of shot you want to play, just pivot and let your hips go with it. Okay? That makes sense?
Yeah, it does.
Good. And look at the difference in trajectory.
Don't go in.
There you go. A little bit better trajectory there, and it landed a little softer. But through your setup, you're dictating the type of shot you want to play, and through practice and teaching yourself how this shot's what it's gonna do, how it's gonna react. But if you can get the consistent contact, you know how it's gonna react.
So the right foot should be plant foot.
Plant foot. And then your left foot pivots based on how much.
And then when you know you're going to turn, you turn. You know how much you're going to turn.
Exactly.
So that's up here. It should be close.
Right, so hold. So now when the ball gets more forward,
Right.
we don't want as much shaft angle. Because now when you create shaft angle,
Right.
what's the tendency for shaft angle? As we talked, the plane becomes shallower.
Sure.
So now the club gets stuck behind you. We want the club to stay in front of us, in front of our body as we rotate. So now we're incorporating more bounce. So now get the club face open, perfect. And as long as you rotate, the ball should go higher. Good, excellent. And it goes in the hole. So remember, I think the key thought there for you is when the ball moves forward, there's not as much shaft angle. So right foot set, left foot's your pivot. I can pivot from here as much as I want, right? And now that as long as the club face is going to my target, the club face stays in front of me, and there's less shaft angle as it moves forward. And you can translate this into your bunker play, into your pitches and everything like that. But the key for you is to open up, that it's going to allow you to rotate your lower body through. Good. Excellent.